In this session, we're going to look at sentences. Now, what is a sentence? A sentence is a combination of words that make complete sense. Now, according to expressions in our everyday lives, they are of four kinds: affirmative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. Now, what are affirmative sentences? Affirmative sentences are basically facts deemed by the speaker. So, according to the speaker, he feels this is, a fact. Or it could also be statements or declarations, otherwise called as assertive sentences. Let's look at these examples. He is late to class. So, according to the speaker, that's a fact. The children are watering the garden. Another statement by the speaker. So, he is late to class. The children are watering the garden. We understand our affirmative sentences. What are interrogative sentences? Interrogative sentences basically are used to inquire unknown information, popularly known as questions. Now, we're going to use the same examples to understand interrogative sentences. We understand interrogative sentences usually begin with who, which, what, where, how. But other than that, another thing that you need to remember is, irrespective of whether the sentence begins with all the WH questions or how, interrogative sentence always, the helping verb, which is be, do, have forms, are placed before the subject. So let's look at that with these examples. He is late to class. Now, which is the helping verb here? The be form is, am, are, was, were, remember. So here it is. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just change the order here. I'm going to transfer this is and place it before the subject. So, is he late to class? That's an interrogative sentence. Same thing, the children are watering the garden. Which is our helping verb here? Are. So, I'm going to take this and place it before the subject. Are the children watering the garden? There's my interrogative sentence. Alright, let's move to the third one, which is imperative. Now, imperative sentences usually express command, order, requests, entreaties, or precepts. Let's look at examples. Command: fire or halt. That's a command. Order: send them away. Or request: would you please pass me those notes? Alright, that's a request. Entreaty. Entreaty, what's an entreaty? It's a cry for help, right? Save me, save me. Precept. Now, precept is a principle or rule prescribing a particular course of action or conduct. So here, beware of dogs, the sign which we're all familiar with, that's a precept. So all these are imperative sentences. Our last one, exclamatory sentences. Now, exclamatory sentences express emotions of the mind, sudden feelings of the mind. So it could be surprise, joy, sorrow, all of this. So an example: wow, that's a beautiful dress. So there's my exclamatory sentence, and if you notice, we have an exclamation mark here. Sometimes it appears at the end of the sentence as well. So a couple of other examples. Or what a brilliant student Kiran is, and then I can end it with an exclamation mark. Or what a beautiful monument Taj Mahal is, and then I can end it with an exclamation mark. So all these are exclamatory sentences. Now, sentences have parts to it. Subject and the predicate. That's what we're going to look at in the next segment. So, we have two parts to the sentence, which is the subject and the predicate. Let's understand that with examples. Birds fly is our first example. Now, what is a subject? A subject is the name of a person or a thing about whom or which the verb speaks. Alright? A tip to identify the subject in a sentence is identify the verb and then add a question, who or what, to it, and there's your subject. So in this first example, which is the action word or the verb? Fly. Alright, so great. So what flies? Birds fly. So I know that this is my subject. Okay, let's look at the second example. The sun rises in the east. Now in this sentence, which is the word that expresses action? Rises. So that's my word. I add a question, who or what. So what rises? The sun rises. So this is my subject again. The third example. The village teacher teaches physics. Alright. What's my action word? Teaches. Who teaches? The village teacher. my subject. So the name of a person or a thing about whom or which the verb speaks is our subject. So what is our predicate? Our predicate is the remaining of the sentence which has the verb. So rises in the east, fly, and teaches physics is my predicate. You need to understand that a predicate will never come without a verb. Alright, so we've identified how to identify a subject, and we know what the predicate is because it will definitely have a verb. So let's move on to understand what phrases and clauses are, which also make up sentences.